What's up, y'all? So look, here's something I want to talk about that I feel like I got some revelation on today. So the topic is, when you are having an exchange with somebody, knowing whether it's communication or if it is manipulation, control, or intimidation. I literally just got this download today. So there are 4 ways, okay? Could be more, but I'm gonna just say there are 4 ways that you can get somebody to do what you want them to do. There's control. Controlling somebody means that you are overriding their will and you're trying to get them to do your will despite how they may feel, what they say. That's control. And then you have manipulation. You use your words and your actions to get someone to make a decision that is your will. But this time, what you did was, you didn't just override their will, but you influenced their will to go toward what you wanted and not necessarily what was best, or just allow them to come to a conclusion. That's manipulation. Manipulation meaning hand, right? So we know that the root word of manipulation is like mano, like a hand, like that's the Latin and word for hand is mano. But manipulation is like a hand. So like anytime there's a hand involved as well. Witchcraft, puppeteering, right? So that's witchcraft. When you're manipulating somebody, you're trying to use your actions and your words to undermine their own self-authority and bring them to a conclusion or an action that's exactly what you wanted. That's witchcraft. That's wrong. And then we have intimidation. Intimidation means that you use your power and you try to threaten that person with an action or an inaction, okay? That also includes threatening to hurt somebody. That also includes threatening to abandon somebody, threatening to reject them, threatening to do something that they wouldn't like to get them to change their mind and do your will. Is all wrong. And then, but the good thing is communication. Communication, like the root word of communication is communing, right? Like you commune is like coming together with somebody on one accord. So when you're coming together with somebody on one accord, then there's an exchange of ideas, there's an exchange of opinions. We both talk. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about something, I'm gonna tell you what I think about something, and together we're gonna come to a conclusion that is best for whatever the situation is, whether it's best for the relationship or it's best for a business or best for just the greater good, whatever it is. That's communication, that's righteous. Now, I had laid the groundwork for that. But here's the thing, here's something that I've noticed. Sometimes if you're in a situation and you feel paralyzed, let's say somebody asks you to do something or somebody asks you to make a decision and you feel paralyzed and you feel like you don't want to deal with this. You don't want to answer them. Sometimes the reason that you're feeling uncomfortable is because it's not communication. It's actually manipulation, control, or intimidation. And it comes in subtle ways. Sometimes people, they might ask you to do something or tell you to do something or create some type of situation that's going to cause you to have to take an action, but you don't feel right about it. Like everything that you feel, like it's alarm bells going off in your spirit. You don't like it, but you don't really know why. But because you don't really know why, because you can't put your finger on what the problem is and you can't really articulate why you don't like it, sometimes you go ahead and just go along with it out of fear, okay? Fear of what? Not necessarily just fear of getting in trouble, but sometimes you fear like looking bad. Sometimes you fear like not being non-cooperative, or you fear being deemed as difficult. So you just go ahead and just do what's asked of you, just because you don't wanna be seen in a bad light. But here's the truth of the matter. Sometimes and assuming that you are a person that you know how to examine yourself, you know how to look at yourself, you know, you have a heart to do right. Okay, you have a heart to do right, you have a heart for the Most High. The Most High can correct you. You know how to receive correction, and if you can receive the correction of the Most High, then anybody can correct you. If you have a soft heart towards Yahuwah, a stranger can correct you and you will accept that correction. If you won't accept correction from anybody, that means you won't accept it from Yahuwah either, because that's what he's saying. He don't always necessarily say something to you. That his correction can come from inside or out. His correction can come from him speaking to your spirit, or his correction can come from him sending somebody to you. Okay, he might even just have you watching a show or something, anything like that, where you just be like, dang, I just got something, right? But if you know that you have a heart to be corrected, and you don't mind being corrected, and you don't feel like you're doing anything wrong, then trust and believe that there's a war going on in the spirit, because something's not right about what's being asked of you, and it's okay to just say, no, I don't want to do that. You ain't gotta know why. You don't have to know why. And which makes me really understand why, like, you know how people say no is a complete sentence? Like, you don't always have to explain the reason why you're saying no. And sometimes we're in a place where when we don't know what the reason is for saying no, we feel like we can't justify our no. That's why you need to just be like, no, because I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling it in the spirit. But I'm saying all of that to say this. If you are experiencing anything like what I was experiencing, you know, like recently before I got this revelation, where you're just feeling like paralyzed, like, you know, something's being asked of you, somebody's asking you to do something, and you just do not want to do it, and you don't know why. You don't have a reason. You can't even articulate why you don't want to do it. It's not something that's overtly wrong or that's gonna cause you a problem. You just like, I don't want to do this. I don't like the way it feels. Sometimes it's not even the fact that what is being asked of you is wrong or not good for you. It's the fact that the person is using a method that is not righteous. The method that they're using is unrighteous. So you cannot engage, because what they're doing is witchcraft. So if somebody, I'm gonna give you an example, right? If you come up to me and you say, hey, you know, Katila, I got some issues going on with my vehicle right now, and there's somewhere I really need to go. Would it be okay with you if I was to use your vehicle so I can go here at this time and I will bring it back? Okay, that's communication. Why is it communication? I share details with you. The person shared details with you. They made things known unto you. They painted you a picture so that you understood exactly what was going on. And based on that picture that you saw, you were able to make an educated decision. So you were able to look at it and determine, do I want to do this? And you were allowed to use your will and your judgment to decide if you wanted to do this. That's communication. Manipulation is when, you know, maybe let's say somebody want to use your vehicle and they just want to go to a party or something. They just need a ride to a party. They don't want to get an Uber because it's too expensive. So they come to you and maybe they tell you, hey, you know, I need to pick my mama up from the hospital. My car is down. Do you mind if I use your van to do that? But maybe they are going to pick their mama up, but then after that they're going to do something else. Okay, you see what I'm saying? You withheld information from me so that you can control the entire situation. You're manipulating. That's manipulation. So the issue is not just whether or not you could use my vehicle. It's the fact that you use a different method. You understand what I'm saying? It's the method that you use that makes a difference. Are you trying to control me? Are you trying to manipulate me? Or are you trying to intimidate me? But if you're communicating, then I get to say yes. So it's not always about, is this the right decision? It's about the method. Because when we engage in methods, when we submit to the methods that people use that are unrighteous, that are of darkness, that are witchcraft, then we give over our power. And let's talk about power. Y'all just gave me this too. We have power and we have authority from Yahuwah, okay? So when you are being manipulated, and when you are being controlled, and when you are being intimidated, then you are allowing somebody to take your power. And listen, let me tell you how dangerous it is for somebody to take your power. Because if you hand your power and your authority over to somebody who ain't supposed to have it, it's dangerous. That's like giving a weapon to a soldier. Let's say you give an AK-47 to a soldier, and they don't know what to do with it. First thing you need to know about a weapon is how to keep it. Because you can have something that's powerful, but if somebody can take it from you, they can take it from you and they can hurt you and they can hurt other people. Why? Because this thing wasn't given to you. You don't have the authority to have it. You don't have the authority necessary to operate this thing safely. But if I use my authority to hand over this thing to you, this powerful thing, you're gonna take this power and you're gonna use this power, and it's not gonna be good. You understand what I'm saying? This is how people get power into their hands that doesn't belong to them. And guess who they got it from? Chosen ones. Guess who they got it from? Yahuwah, by way of you. Because Yahuwah gave you authority and he gave you power, and you let somebody get it out your hand. Now they out there hurting somebody. You understand what I'm saying? Now they out there hurting somebody. Because you got people who manipulate, you got people who control, you got people who intimidate, but they wouldn't be able to do that if they weren't getting it from somebody who was supposed to have it. The power the authority that he gave me and the power that he gave me, I'm supposed to have it. Because he gave it to me. Because I passed the test. Because I'm not skipping steps. Because I decided to submit to him. I submitted to him. I repented. I bowed down to the Most High. You understand what I'm saying? Walk in humility. He's building character in me. So you build that character and you follow the steps correctly, then he be like, here, you can have this. You get more power. But then, if you don't learn how to recognize when somebody is trying to take power from you, then with your divine authority, you give them power to go do something evil. That's why evil people got all this power. They just got what you are letting them have it. You done left your gun out on the coffee table and the baby got it. You done left your weapon. You walking around open carry, but you got a pistol on your hip and you don't even know the first thing about how to keep it on your hip. Open carry can be a dangerous thing. It's dangerous. I mean, listen, when people look at you open carrying, people don't necessarily look at you and say, oh, that person has a weapon. I better stay back. No, they look at you and be like, let me see how I can take this one down first. So when it comes to your power, okay? So anybody can have a weapon. The weapon represents power, but you have the authority for it. And then you got people walking around using power without authority. That's a witch. That's a warlock. That's what witches and warlocks are. It's just people who are operating in power without authority. You a thief and a robber. You've come up the wrong way. You came up through the back door because you ain't got no authority. That's the difference. Because everything that you see wicked people doing, I don't even know where I'm going here, but let's say, for example, witches and warlocks, right? You know how witches and warlocks, let's give an example of how they can do stuff like they can astral project, right? Don't you know that y'all's people do that too? But they do it by way of authority of the Most High. They do that when they sent by the highest one, by the Ancient of Days. When the Ancient of Days sends you out, he will astral project you somewhere, and you'll be somewhere in the spirit on some kind of assignment. But he sent you though, and he sent you for a good reason. But you got people who operate in that power outside of authority, and they decide, I'm going to astral project, and I'm going to go somewhere in the spirit, and I'm going to go to monitor somebody. I'm going to go spy on them. I'm going to go intimidate them. I'm going to steal something from in the spirit for myself, for my will, because they think they God. You see what I'm saying? Power and authority is an amazing thing. But back to what I was saying about manipulation, intimidation, and control. Just learn to recognize that, because Yahuwah cannot allow you to elevate with more power if you don't know how to recognize it, because they'll take it from you. They will take it from you. That's when you got to start recognizing that thing and saying, no, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that. Like, this don't feel good. I don't like how you moving. I don't like how you asked me that. Like, I feel like you left something out. I feel like you trying to manipulate me. I feel like you trying to control me. I feel like you trying to intimidate me. It's a no. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I wanted to tell y'all. That's a whole download I got from y'all today about recognizing those. So every time somebody talks to you, when you're dealing with anybody who you feel like gives you a hard time, or somebody who you in your life, let's say it's your parent, let's say it's a family member, let's say it's somebody you're in a relationship with, let's say it's a boss, right? That's something I talk to my daughter about all the time, because my oldest daughter has a job, but I talk to her all the time. Don't let nobody control you. Don't let nobody manipulate you. Don't let nobody look at you like you the young buck in the business, and they can, just manipulate you. Set boundaries. Don't let nobody make you do nothing. You're not no slave. Like I tell her that all the time as she's working, because I don't want her to be in a workplace with somebody trying to tell her, well, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, I'm all over the place, but I just want to say this. I'm gonna give you an example. We were getting ready to go on a road trip, right? And I didn't have the exact date. And she was like, Mama, I need you to tell me what the exact date is. Like, I need you to tell me, like, the window is closing for me to put in my request. Like, if it's, I said, what you mean? And she was like, I got until this date to put in my request for my days off. I said, what you mean your request? So you think you better put in a request, and if they say no, what you think I ain't going? No. We don't put in no time off request. You gonna put in a time off notification. There's a difference. You ain't asking for nothing. We're not requesting time off. You're gonna notify them. Of course, you should do that in a reasonable amount of time to allow them time to, find a replacement, make arrangements. That's considerate. We want to be considerate at work. But anybody requested nothing. See what I'm saying? So that's the kind of mindset that I'm instilling in her. I'm raising rebels. Same thing. Other things I talked to her about when she would get off. Sometimes when she first started working, let's say she would say she was off at 3:00, and then I pull up at 3:00 to pick her up. She's still in there, and then I'm outside. Sometimes I'll be out there for like 30-40 minutes. I say, oh no, we won't be doing this. We ain't gonna be doing it. They say you get off at 3:00. You get off at 3:00. If they tell you get off at 3:00, whatever they need you to do, they better be done by 3:00. So I pressed on her until she got the courage, and she walked in there and used her authority and said, hey, I don't mind staying late, but if you want me to stay late, I'd rather you ask me and not just make me do it. You understand what I'm saying? I said, you're not gonna let nobody intimidate you into nothing. You're not gonna let nobody control you into nothing. We're not gonna let nobody manipulate you into nothing. If you want something, you ask me, and you're gonna give me the chance, the opportunity, the educated decision, to make an educated decision to decide whether or not I wanna do this. And that's how you not be controlled. And that's how you make sure that you're not a puppet. And when you're not a puppet and you're not a coward, Yahuwah can use you, but he cannot use you if you're in cowardice. He cannot use you if you're a puppet. He cannot use you if you've been controlled, manipulated, and intimidated by somebody who don't even love him and ain't even serving him. You serving the wrong guy. All right, I'm done. That's all I want to tell y'all. Recognize those methods and ask yourself, next time somebody asks you to do something, is this real communication? Or is this darkness? All right, see y'all.